House of Representatives is continuing to squabble as a government shutdown looms overhead.
A strike against the video game industry has officially been authorized by the Screen Actors Guild.
And if you find yourself stressed out this school semester, maybe yoga with alpacas can help you relax.
Broadcasting live from the University of North Texas, this is ntTV Nightly News.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us on ntTV Nightly News. I'm Avery Callens.
And I'm Brooke Deering. Late this afternoon, a New York judge ruled that Donald Trump committed fraud for years while he was creating his real estate empire. The ruling came in a civil lawsuit filed by the Attorney General of New York. The judge ruled that Trump and his company deceived banks, insurance companies, and other insurers by drastically overvaluing their worth. The ruling also said Trump exaggerated his net worth and used that to make deals and secure financing when in fact those assets were worth much less. The judge also found that Trump and his company executives lied repeatedly about their yearly financial statements, which allowed them to get lower rates on loans and insurance premiums. This is a developing story, and ntTV News will keep you updated as it unfolds.
Meanwhile, in Washington, the House of Representatives remains divided about how to avoid a government shutdown. And while the congressmen quarrel, Americans are worried. John Lornick has more.
Although inflation in the U.S. is easing from 4-decade highs, financial concerns are rising for many households.
I have to cut down on what I should eat, what I should buy, where I should go. Do I want to go out tonight?
According to a Bank of America survey shared exclusively with CNN, 67% of U.S. employees say the cost of living is increasing faster than their salaries. The study also found 64% of workers say they are stressed about their financial future, while 80% of people between 35 and 44 years old say they feel likewise.
We're forced to make all these bad choices and bad decisions just to live our lifestyles, so it's pretty sad.
A similar, albeit much bigger, situation about money flow is hovering over the Beltline.
Funding the government is one of the most basic fundamental responsibilities of the Congress. And if the Republicans in the House don't start doing the job, we should stop electing.
If a deal isn't made by the end of the week, the government will shut down. Among the potential impacts, active military members and Border Patrol agents will go without pay.
I'm looking at it through the lens, how do we prevent this shutdown from, or how do we minimize it from to 10 days instead of 10 weeks? And that starts now, not waiting and keep continuing the finger-pointing game.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
If that shutdown does happen, most government services will stop, and that means hardship for millions of Americans. But one group, those on Social Security, are in luck. That is the one thing that won't stop, the Social Security checks. The average monthly check is about $1,700, and more than 66 million Americans receive them. Besides Social Security checks, disability payments will also continue.
I know not to get my hopes up about this cooler weather we're having, but it's so hard to when fall literally started this past weekend.
I think it's best if we hear from our weather anchor, Sam Price, before we get our fuzzy socks out. What can we expect to see this week, Sam?
Thanks, y'all. Yeah, it's still hot. It's Texas. It's kind of expected at this point. So we have a temperature of 93, feels like 98. That is grossly hot. We have a little bit of air coming in east-northeast, 2 miles per hour, and we have pretty much clear skies. It's still hot. Looking tonight, though, it's going to be a little cooler. 65 degrees, feels like 66. And it is perfectly clear tonight. No clouds in the sky. So if you're moving out somewhere where there's no city light, you'll see the Milky Way galaxy just fine tonight. we'll have a little bit more air coming through, east-southeast, 6 miles per hour. And looking at tomorrow, we have a little higher temperatures, 95 degrees, feels like 97. There's going to be a few clouds in the sky, but that shouldn't deter anyone. We'll have some shade, and sunglasses won't be necessary. So also, we have southeast winds coming up, 7 miles per hour. So unfortunately, you're going to have to keep your hoodies and your jackets in your closets for just a little longer. But hey, we have a few more days extra to go swimming. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Sam. Well, Avery, the weather doesn't quite feel like fall yet, but it is safe to say that fall allergies are among us right now.
And boy, do I know it. My Zyrtec and I are best friends. But our health reporter, Lauren George, is in studio now with some tips that might give me some help. Lauren.
That's right, ladies. The fall weather may be nice, but not so much if you're experiencing those fall allergies that come along with it. That's right, North Texas. If you are experiencing runny nose, itchy eyes, and excessive sneezing, it's safe to say that fall allergies are among us. CNN's Mandy Gather has tips on how to tackle this fall weather.
It's that time of year again. The air is crisp, the leaves will fall, and autumn allergies may act up.
Things like stuffy nose, drippy nose, sneezing, itching of the nose, or maybe itching, redness of the eyes.
Allergist Matthew Rank with Mayo Clinic says allergens floating in fall air can also trigger asthma symptoms, but there are ways to gain control. Rank says to first try saline nasal sprays or rinses, over-the-counter non-sedating antihistamines, and nasal spray medications.
Each of those medicines works a little bit differently as far as how fast they work and how well they work. And some of them, particularly the nasal steroid sprays, it's a really good idea to think about 2 to 4 weeks ahead of when your allergy season typically is and getting it started.
If symptoms can't be controlled, Rank says it's time to see an allergy specialist who can work on other treatment options to help desensitize you to the allergens or find out what's causing the problem.
People that lose their sense of smell. This can happen from somebody who has severe environmental allergy, but that could be a sign that something else is going on.
Rank says the National Allergy Bureau website can also help.
And you can pick a counting station where they actually count the pollens close to where you live, and you can get some idea what's in the air currently.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
So ladies, keep those Kleenex close for the next few weeks, and let's hope for cooler weather. Then we can prepare for those spring allergies coming. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Lauren. Starting this Friday, the State Fair of Texas is opening with new rules that will also affect children under the age of 17. Our live reporter Kennedy Fowler has more on the story. Kennedy?
Thanks, Brooke. Before you go on some rides, here's some information about the new safety measures that you need to know this fall. New rollouts of safety protocols have been introduced to reduce disturbances and fights. After a chaotic incident that left many people injured last year, State Fair officials added more security in and around the park. A new policy now requires minors 17 and younger to be accompanied by adult or guardian after 5 p.m. Chaperones can accompany no more than 6 minors. Metal detectors will be placed all around the gate entrances, along with a police stand near the food hall entrance to survey the crowds. With all these new safety measures, you're probably wondering why I'm standing next to a train station. Well, if you're a minor looking to go to the State Fair before the new policy starts at 5 p.m., you can take the DIN train all the way to Carrollton and connect with the DART all the way to Dallas and have a good time. Reporting live with ntTV News, I'm Kennedy Fowler. Back to you ladies at the desk.
Thanks, Kennedy. Are you a fan of alpacas? Well, stay tuned to learn how you can see some up close.
And right after the break, how your favorite video game makers might be on strike. Stay tuned.
Like DVDs, video games, and cameras. That's right, You do. Come on down to Chilton Library and fulfill your media dream. Located on the bottom floor next to the student sculpture. Hope to see you there soon.
Hey girl, you know you look good. I like the way you move and groove. I'm not sure.
All right, look up here. 1, 2, 3.
Mom, Dad, I got it.
You're right, Mom. I have.
Although the writers in Hollywood seem to have gotten what they wanted and could go back to work as early as next week, another strike seems to be very possible within the upcoming days. Video game companies might not have unionized workers to work with, as SAG-AFTRA has officially authorized a strike against the video game industry. The decision to authorize the strike was met with overwhelming support from the guild members, as over 98% voted in favor of taking action against the video game agreement, which covers voice, motion capture, and stunt work. The Actors Union does say, however, that just because a strike has been authorized, that does not mean that a strike will actually happen just yet. And in the age of new AI technology, companies are taking more innovative steps to compete in the growing field. ChatGPT has done so recently with the introduction of their new AI chatbot. Like the name suggests, you can now have a conversation with the ChatGPT artificial intelligence system. In addition to a chat, you can have it do a number of other tasks like responding to questions or having it read a bedtime story. It uses technology similar to Alexa and Siri voice assistants, but unlike those technologies, this bot does not have a name just yet. Hopefully it will by the time it releases in the next 2 weeks. And we all know that technology can be a great thing, but there are some times that technology can cause problems. ntTV Anna Virgin is live with more on just how one type of technology can mean trouble for all of us who drive cars. Anna?
Thank you, Avery. We've seen online hacking with phones, computers, and many other electronic devices. But now, hackers have made it possible to get into cars too. By just having a key fob close by, thieves in under a minute are able to get a signal from the keys and hack into their targeted cars. This high-tech robbery is unfortunately quite accessible for thieves, as YouTube has provided the information they need to break into cars in a very tech-savvy way. To take it a step further, research tools intended to improve key fobs are available for purchase to the public, including car hackers. The Flipper Zero tool can change settings, open doors, get secure data, and achieve close to anything done in a physical sense. Currently, automakers and manufacturers do not have an exact solution to fixing this current problem. They are aware of the issue as more mainstream vehicles use keyless entries and sadly become susceptible to these hackers. As a vehicle owner, I ask, how can I stay safe from all of this? Fortunately, insurance industries and actions like reporting a stolen vehicle are all solutions to help possible victims and those already targeted. I'm Anna Fragine with ntTV News. Ladies, back to you.
In this hot weather, I'm surprised someone would even have the energy to steal.
I know, it's fall. What happened?
For real. Well, I'm not sure. At this point, I bring an umbrella, sunglasses, and a winter coat with me everywhere I go, Avery.
Smart. Well, let's see what the rest of the week looks like with our weather anchor, Sam Price. Sam?
Thanks, Avery. Yep, bipolar Texas. Weather can be anything at any time. One day it could be really, really rainy, but other times it could be extremely hot, like right now. As you can see in Graham, it's a gross 98 degrees. But as you move away from Graham, you start to see the temperatures kind of dissipate. Like 91 in Dektar and 92 in McKinney. Most of these towns, we're seeing a range of between 91 and 93. But moving the map out to a wider scale, we'll see the same temperatures, like a 93 in Austin and a 90 in Houston. As we move up to Amarillo, they got a little chilly weather, 86 degrees. They're pretty lucky today. Of course, we also have a 92 in El Paso and a 91 in Oklahoma City. Moving back to Denton, our weekly forecast remains pretty much the same the entire week. We have a few clouds, of course, this Wednesday, and we'll also have a few clouds next Tuesday. But between those 2 days, it's going to be pretty sunny, pretty clear, same temperatures in the mid-90s in the highs and 70s and the 60s in the lows. Not a cloud to be seen after Wednesday, but let's hope that it's going to be rather cloudy, so we have a little bit of shade. So we have the weather. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Sam. This summer saw record highs across the country, and this winter could even bring more extreme weather. An El Nino winter is set to defy expectations and bring winter storms our way. CNN's Mike Valerio has more.
Are watching a rapidly developing and strengthening El Nino event. It's a natural climate pattern, typically every 2 to 7 years, bringing warmer than average sea surface temperatures to the equatorial Pacific Ocean. That warming can influence our winter weather.
The effects of El Nino are pretty pronounced across a lot of the continent and really a lot of the world.
Dr. Daniel Swain, a UCLA climate scientist, explains El Nino is not just a Pacific story. The phenomenon typically leads to warmer and drier conditions in northern sections of the U.S., with cooler and wetter weather across southern stretches of the country. After California endured a winter of relentless atmospheric river systems, El Nino likely means more winter storms this coming January through March could be on the way.
I think there is a tilt in the odds towards a wetter than average winter, especially in southern and central California, as well as other parts of the interior southwestern U.S.
Dr. Swain adds El Nino could mean an unusually dry winter in the Pacific Northwest and Hawaii, where we've seen wildfires like the devastation in August in Lahaina. But a curveball in this year's El Nino predictions, how the abnormally warm water across the rest of the world's oceans could change how El Nino impacts us.
The global oceans outside of the El Nino zone in the tropics are also extremely warm. And so that combination is something we haven't seen before.
I'm Mike Valerio reporting.
Thanks, Mike. While the odds of experiencing extreme weather are rising every day, the odds of winning the Powerball lottery are much more.
That's right. The odds of winning the Powerball are 1 in just over 292 million. So how lucky do you feel? Sydney Jollyvet is live with more information.
I am outside a local 7-Eleven and I am feeling pretty lucky. The Powerball lottery has been a hot topic lately as no one has been able to snag that grand prize this year since early July. Drawings are every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday at 10:59 p.m. Eastern Time. Since no lucky winner was crowned on Monday, the winnings now stand at $835 million. I'm headed inside right now to try my luck and change those numbers. hours. Be sure to stick around. We are going to win big right here on North Texas Television.
Thanks, Sydney. Are you a fan of yoga? What about alpacas? Well, stay tuned to see how these two manage to work together.
And after the break, great news for students as the USDA makes changes to their school lunch assistant programs. Stick with us.
And now we return to Fabric of Passion.
Oh, Hector, it will be so hard for us to part, but we must.
But, my love, what did I do? I thought we were meant to be together forever.
I am so disheartened to say that you're just not in style anymore. But you will be, to someone else, in a better place.
You're gonna shred me?
No.
I'm donating you to one of the many clothing donation boxes available on campus. There is one in the Union by the Syndicate and one on Union Circle Drive.
Oh, well, why didn't you just say so? I'm gonna be someone's new shirt.
I thought you'd be more distressed.
Oh, absolutely not. It was cramped in your closet anyways.
Maybe you would like to be shredded after all.
One of the best ways to take a break and de-stress is to take a yoga class. But have you ever heard of Alpaca Yoga? Well, neither had I until I visited Texture Farm this weekend and learned what it means to have a total alpaca zen. Take a look.
In a world where namaste meets fluffy fleece, alpacas are joining the mats and finding their zen on a small farm in Aubrey, Texas.
I'm here at Texture Farm where I get the chance to spend the day with all of the alpacas that make Alpaca Yoga so special.
So here it's all inclusive, meaning you could be in any shape. Most people have never done yoga in their lives. I throw in some fun poses for the people that have done yoga before and they are yogis. And then I throw in poses that are super restorative and easy and accessible to everybody.
Just like their signature alpaca yoga, there is something for everyone at Texture Farm. This small farm is known for producing alpacas, lavender, honey, Christmas trees, and most importantly, memorable experiences.
It was great. It was part yoga, part just rolling around with alpacas. Would absolutely do again. Can't wait to bring my girlfriends out.
Because of their passion to connect people with nature, Texture Farm has given a new meaning to a breath of fresh air ever since they opened in March of 2021 as an answer to COVID.
We decided people needed to get outside and do something, and so we rolled the dice and turned our shearing of alpacas into a festival. 600 people showed up, and next thing we knew, this was our lives.
Shortly after opening their private residence farm doors to the community, Alpaca Yoga was born out of their love for alpacas and the outdoors.
Alpaca Yoga is special because the number of people who have been introduced to our farm because of it, they come out thinking they're going to do 1 hour of yoga, get their selfie, and they end up hanging out for 6 hours and just enjoying the farm. And then we see them time and time again, and it's just a way to connect with nature, with people. Love it.
Not only did I get to spend the day at the farm, but Russell and Heather let me join in on all of the Alpaca Yoga fun. And let me just say, taking one of these classes is definitely the best way to find your inner fleece. Each yoga session is an hour long, and afterwards you are free to stay and linger on the farm. When I asked Russell what he says to people when encouraging them to try out Alpaca Yoga, this is what he had to say.
Live. Man, when the opportunity presents itself, whether it's riding an ostrich or sitting down and doing yoga with an alpaca, take it, because you can't go back.
You can go onto Texture Farm's website to book an event from an alpaca yoga session to a hands-on soap making class and so much more. It is truly an experience I will never forget.
Texture Farm has weekly yoga classes where the alpacas are always ready to strike a pose and show you how it's done. Oh, and make sure you're looking out for their Paca Pumpkin Patch coming later this fall. I know I'll be going back.
Well, Brooke, I've never been to an alpaca farm, but I do like to get my workout in by lifting weights.
Well, but Avery, why lift weights when you can namaste with alpacas?
That is so true. Either way, these UFC fighters we'll be hearing about later have us both beat. Here's what Benjamin Wolf has more on what you'll see in the sports section. Benjamin?
Thanks, Avery. Thanks, Brooke. I get my exercise from running the class. Coming up next, we'll be looking at UFC Fight Night. The Cowboys lost to the Cardinals and a strong win by the UNT football team.
That was so good. I wasn't expecting that either.
Just 2 days ago, the Cowboys had an unexpected defeat by the Cardinals following their triumph over the Jets the previous week. The Cardinals stole the lead in the first quarter and ended with the match with a 28-16 win. What's even more interesting is that just 2 weeks ago, the Cowboys defeated the New York Giants in a 40-point blowout, and 1 week later, the Giants would defeat the Cardinals 31-28. Because of this, many expected the Cowboys to beat the Cardinals, but it seems their defense has been lacking since their loss of Trayvon Diggs. Moving forward, the Cowboys will be playing the Patriots, whom they have a history of close matches with. It seems the Cowboys will need to reevaluate their defensive strategies if they want to get back on track. Moving over to local sports, UNT women's volleyball cleaned house this past Sunday, beating Tulane with a 3-0 victory. The UNT Eagles had a total of 57 kills for a total of 144 attempts, amounting to a total of 67 points, with Tulane only managing 59. Anise Smith established herself as a worthy leader, setting season highs with 11 kills, 23 attempts, and 4 blocks. And Erin Johnson collected her first double-double with the season, 13 kills and 28 attacks. UFC had a riveting match this past weekend for Fight Night, with Rafael Fiziev and Massoud Gamrot meeting in the octagon for the main event Saturday. Early on, Fiziev seemed to be winning the fight, landing 55% of 34 total strikes, and Gamrot lagging behind at 40 for 42. Unfortunately, Fiziev, that would all change. Just 2 minutes into the second round, Gamrot beat Fiziev by TKO following a successful takedown attempt. With the way Gamrot has been performing lately, I wouldn't be surprised to see him fight in a UFC tournament in the upcoming months. I know I'll be waiting. That's all for sports. Back to you at the desk.
I think the only thing people love more than sports is money.
I mean, I'd take money over sports any day of the week. And maybe our reporter, Sydney, can win us the jackpot right here and right now. We won't find out until Wednesday, but it's never too early to scratch. Let's check in on her now. Sydney, how are you doing out there?
All right, ladies, I was able to grab a Powerball ticket, but I don't think I want to share those numbers with you guys. But in the spirit of tickets, I did get a scratch off. Wasn't very lucky, but all is fair in love and losing money. Be sure to check back tomorrow where we'll find out if I did win big. Fingers crossed. Back to you ladies in the studio.
Thanks for watching ntTV Nightly News.
Join us again tomorrow at noon and tomorrow evening at 6 here on North Texas Television.